Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello, hello. We'll get started in a few minutes. Just letting people jump on. Hello, hello, welcome. We will start in just about a minute. We're letting people join, jump on, get everybody in. It's good to see familiar names. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. All right, so Kayla has dropped the link to our slides if you'd like to look at them there, or snag that for later. And of course, I'll be going through them as we chat. Okay, so let's get started. I'm sure there'll be some others who join as we go. But welcome everyone to our local cross-system collaborative information session about our 2026 cohort. We're really excited for this project and excited to partner with you all in this way. So if you can introduce yourself in the chat, your names, your pronouns if you'd like, the organization that you're representing, your location, and then just like an emoji of how your day is going so far. So as you do that, I will share mine verbally. So I'm Sarah Billings. I use she, her pronouns, and I am from National Network for Youth. I'm the Director of Community Strategies. I am located just outside of Philadelphia. And if I was to do an emoji of how my day is going so far, it'd probably be one of the like faces because it's been a little hectic. But overall, very good, and I'm glad it's Thursday. So, okay, so please go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat. I see some folks starting to do that. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. And so, as we go through today, um, you can use the question and answer feature on Zoom to put your questions in there. And Kayla will be monitoring that for us, and will help me out when it's time, and make sure those questions get answered. And by putting them in the question and answer spot, we can always check back and see them. So that's really helpful for us. So thank you for doing that. So the webinar slides and a recording are going to be available on our website, and the recording will also be available on our member portal. All right, so today we're going to talk about what is an LCSC. I'll say the word LCSC probably many times. We're going to talk about what the application process is like, what makes a strong application, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. So a little bit about us. At the National Network for Youth, we're on a mission to transform systems so that no young person in America experiences homelessness. We do this through a variety of ways, including federal policy advocacy, youth and young adult partnerships, and our community-based solutions. So this program that we're going to talk about sits in that community-based solutions with our community strategies team primarily. And we are a membership organization. So, we believe that the fight to end youth homelessness takes all of us. And many of you are doing this work every day. And so we'd love for you to join as members. Membership is not required to be one of our LCSCs, as we'll talk about. But we are really happy when we can welcome folks into this work as members. We make sure that we provide our members with connections to peers, expert guidance, and updates on funding and policies that are affecting youth homelessness. So, we are here to talk about local cross-system collaboration. And so we really start with like, why does this matter, right? No single system can end youth homelessness. We understand that this is an intersectional issue. And I'm telling you something that you know. But we know that young people, they're navigating housing and homelessness systems, schools, higher ed, child welfare, workforce programs, healthcare and behavior health systems, and juvenile justice and legal systems, and more. And so, when systems work in isolation, we know young people fall through the cracks. So we have developed the local cross-system collaboration model, and that is what we call our LCSC. So local cross-system collaborative. And a local cross-system collaborative, or an LCSC, is a community-based partnership that brings together young people with lived expertise, service providers, public systems, schools, community leaders, and decision makers with the goal of strengthening coordination, addressing the barriers, and improving outcomes for young people ultimately in your community. So, what communities do, they work together in these collaboratives to build relationships across those systems, to engage and to compensate young people for their expertise. They identify barriers and opportunities. They develop shared goals and priorities. And we work with you to create a strategic action plan, and implement tangible system improvements. So it's not just about planning. The goal is action and measurable progress. We don't just come in and say, here's what you should do. We really work with you to see that action and that measurable progress. And so what does it look like when we do that? So the support that we're providing is up to 18 months of support per cohort. So this is our first cohort and it'll start in the fall. Um, we provide facilitation and strategic planning, coaching and technical assistance. So that could be for programs or for individuals. Youth leadership development, we have our Youth Action Leadership Certificate and other programs that are similar, that the young people that are in your community, either they're in a YAB or you want to form a YAB, or they are, receiving services at programs and you want to make sure that you're partnering with them to make changes. We work with them to develop their leadership skills. We provide training and capacity building. If you're familiar with any of the trainings we provide, much of that is provided within this program. And we connect you to policy and advocacy opportunities. And so we'll work with you, our policy team will work with you to develop those policy strategies, to identify what are the policy issues, and to come up with a plan on how you can advocate for change in your community. That might be your city, it could be your township, it could be your state, or at the federal level. We also provide peer learning opportunities. So we will bring together other people who are doing this work, other LCSCs, because there'll be a few in the cohort, and make sure that you're able to learn from other people who are doing this, hear from other people, understand what they're going through, what questions they have, what similar things are you facing, and bringing them together. And we'll also be doing that with the young people that are in your community, making sure that they have other connections to young leaders who have lived experience. We also provide a mini grant competition for youth-led projects. So for the young people that are in your community who are doing this work, whether they're on a YAB, a youth action board, or if they're starting to get involved, if they have something they want to do, we have a mini grant competition that they can get involved with. But that has to be youth-led. So we'll also provide scholarships for our programs and our events, things like our summit, but other things that we do as well. Your community will receive scholarships for that. So you'll have a partner in the work, not just a consultant. So what does participation look like? We kick off, we get together, we come to you and do an in-person convening in your community. And so the lead applicant, which you'll learn more about as we go through and talk about the application, will work with us to put on this convening, and bring people together in your community to really kick off this work. And then we provide ongoing support. So the lead organization is going to be meeting with us at least twice monthly. And then we'll have full LCSC, the collaborative meetings at least monthly. We'll be providing, in the meantime, ongoing coaching and technical assistance. and we'll have a focus. So we're going to be building momentum. We're going to be supporting that implementation of those changes and really focus on creating sustainable changes because this is 18 months where we're with you. But obviously after that, we're going to move on to another cohort. And we're going to continue to support you as either members or partners in this work through all of the other things that we do. But we want to see that we're walking away having created sustainable change in your community with you. So, who should apply? The lead organization that applies might include youth serving nonprofits, continuums of care, coalitions and partnerships, tribal governments or tribal serving organizations, public systems, other organizations that are committed to ending youth homelessness. And we really encourage under-resourced communities, rural communities, communities facing policy or funding challenges. And so those are just some of the ideas about who can apply. But that organization that's applying, they're really the backbone. They should be someone who has the ability to convene folks, the relationships, at least a little bit to bring people together. And then we're going to work on leveraging that and building that out to really make a sustained change in your community. So what makes a strong application? So strong communities typically will work across systems. They have meaningfully engaging young people. So not everyone does this perfectly. We understand that, but we want to see folks that have an intent or a plan to engage young people, and then we can come alongside and provide that technical assistance, that coaching, and the leadership development to help strengthen that. But we want to see folks that are giving it a try at the very least and have a commitment to youth leadership. They share decision-making power. So this is true, especially if you're working across systems. We want to see that there's shared decision-making power with young people and with your system partners. We love to see when folks are compensating youth for their expertise. So that is one of the factors that will help us decide if if your community is ready to be an LCSC. If you aren't compensating youth right now, you can still apply. We just want to hear what plans do you have? What barriers have you faced? What questions do you have about doing that? And how can we come alongside you and help make that happen? Strong communities will have an identified point person that is part of the application. And they are committed to long-term systems change. So I should say the identified point person, they are going to be the person who's meeting with us. They're in that twice monthly meeting. They're also helping to convene every month that collaborative meeting. And they're the people who we're connecting with and working with. And in the application, it spells that out a little more. So please check that out and understand, who's the right person for that. You do not need a perfect plan. You do not need existing funding. And you do not need every partner at the table right now. If you feel like your community and your organization is ready to do this, you need the support and you want to make this happen, we want to see your application. I don't know what we're going to get in our applications because we haven't done it this way before. We've done local cross-system collaborative work for many years prior, but we were recruiting our communities in a different way. And so we really wanted to make this radical shift to open it to all different communities because we know that there's so many of you that are committed to this. So I don't need a perfect application. I just need to see certain things and then be able to really weigh, where can we come in and actually really help support, make measurable change. So here's a little bit about the application. It covers your community context. So I'm asking a lot of questions about your community. Tell us more about it. Youth homelessness and housing instability in your community where you are. Your existing partnerships, your youth leadership practices, your funding and sustainability, your policy and your systems barriers, your community goals and priorities. Hopefully you have some, but if you don't, again, we will work to set those with you. And then we do require some letters of support. And so that includes a letter from a community service provider partner, a letter from a public system or government partner, and a letter from a youth or young adult with lived expertise. So some timelines for this 2026 cohort. We opened we opened the application yesterday, and today we're having our information session. And then the application is due July 22nd. And in August, we'll be reviewing those and having some follow-up conversations. And by September, the selected communities will be announced. And then in the fall, we will launch the cohort. So that's when we will be coming to you for the kickoff. Hopefully, we get that done by the end of 2026. It may be in quarter 1 of 2027 that we're still doing kickoffs. My hope is to do it in the fall. And we'll come out, we'll see you, we'll get to be with you and your people. And that engagement will last for 18 months. So I have gone through many pieces of it. Before we go into questions, I'm going to toggle over to the application in case you haven't seen it. So there is an application preview that's available to you if you want like a printout, but you can also see all the questions in the Google form. And so you'll see here some explanation. Please, before you fill this out, check out what makes a strong application and more about the program on our fact sheet. This is what that looks like, and the link is right there. And then again, like I said, you can preview the application questions here on our application preview. That's what that looks like. Please do not fill this out and send it to me. Do it in this Google Doc or Google form. And so take a few minutes, read through that stuff. You'll be well versed because you all are here attending this. And then, of course, in here I have just a little bit more about who should complete the application. So it should be completed by the lead applicant organization. That's that backbone organization that I talked about. And it should be an organization with strong community relationships, with credibility among local partners, and the ability to convene stakeholders across systems. You do not have to do this perfectly yet. That's part of what we're here to support. But we do want to see it be someone who has some connections so that we can really leverage those and make them stronger and make them actually result in systems changes. So the lead applicant, that organization, will identify a collaborative lead. That's a person, a staff member, who is expected to serve as the primary point person of the local cross-system collaborative. And for us, that's the person I'm going to call. That's my champion, if you're selected. And so additional information on that role is provided in section B of the application. And I'm just going to scroll through so you see it. But hopefully you also have this pulled up, and I believe the links are in the chat as well. So, what is the geographic space we're looking for? This can really be as big or as small as you feel like is kind of representative of your system. And so, we've done these across states, full states, and we've done them in just a city or a county. And we've also done it with multiple counties or with maybe a COC. Maybe it's a balance of state, COC. So it really is kind of yours to define that geographic area. We have done multiple states when the region is sort of one of those unique places where maybe there's a city in the middle of two places. We've been able to do some cross work. So if you are, seeing that, okay, young people are experiencing homelessness in this system in this way, and they're crossing between these counties or these areas, that can be your geographic region. It's yours to define. And that will, just inform us kind of how big are we going, how specific are we going. We have done really small ones and really big ones, and they work. They're always interesting to see the differences. But yeah, it works really well because you're defining it. You'll define just a little bit more about that, the continuums of care that are located in your proposed service area. Please be clear about, if it's like, oh, only half of this continuum of care would be in it, put that in there. Give me that info. That's helpful. Um, and then you'll tell us about yourself and your organization. So whoever's filling this out, the lead organization name and mission and so forth, a little bit about your budget, just interesting to understand who we're working with. And then this collaborative lead is potentially the person who's actually filling this out. But maybe it's someone else. Maybe you're going to assign it to someone. But in here it says, it's like 5 to 15 hours per month that we're estimating this person would be dedicating. So please consider that as you're going through. Obviously, for the times that we're doing in-person work with you and we're coming to you and we're doing a day-long workshop, that would be additional. So that person's first name, last name, etc. Again, you might be repeating it because I asked you, who was filling out the form earlier, but that's fine. And then tell us about your partners and the landscape of youth homelessness in your community. And so you'll do that. Talk about some cross systems infrastructure if you have any. Tell me about it. If you don't, that's okay. I just want to hear what's happening. What systems might engage, a little bit about the data that you do have, your strengths and your assets, your work with youth and youth adult partnership. If there's compensation, please note that you have these options here. Feel free to use them. That will not mean that you're not selected. Your buy-in, I want to know, like, what's your rating on the buy-in for leadership? Your partner readiness, any capacity constraints. Are there huge changes happening? Are you losing specific grants? Definitely, we want to hear that and understand that because that might be something that we say, you know what, we can step in and we've been able to do this before and see change. So a little bit more about your funding, state funding, local, etc. And then some about your policy environment. So, what policy and system barriers are you seeing? Give us an idea. It's okay if you don't know all of them, but we want as much as we can get about what's happening from your perspective. And then we're going to go to your goals and priorities. So, what do you think your top priorities are, etc. And then you're going to give me the letters of support. So the letters of support, you're actually just going to email. Please just send one email and give us the letters of support along with any other, supplementary materials that you want to do. And then just check this off when you've done it. That is how we're going to collect those. And please use the naming structure here in the subject line. That will help me to organize really well. So. And then, yeah, anything additional. So that is the application. You also have this preview. If you want to print it out, it's just a little easier. And you have this fact sheet that gives you some additional information along with the slides, which will be available to you and this recording. So I think we will take it to questions. Kayla, I think I can see questions. So I can read them. Yeah. The first question is, are there any special considerations to have for first-time applicants? So that's great. I mean, we've never done this as an application before, and so everyone's a first-time applicant. But I think, if you're not familiar with our LCSC local cross-system collaborative work and you want to learn more, please go to our website, check it out, see the things that we've done over the course of the last several years with our LCSCs. And, you can feel free to ask us more questions, but we've been doing this work for a while and it does look different every place. But really the goal is always to bring people together and then identify where are those places in your system that we can make a real change. Where are those leverage points that we can make a real change, just reorienting certain things, pulling in potentially other funding or maybe getting the interest of local funders, that sort of a thing. But really, it's important that we understand that in every community it looks a little different. Every place it looks a little different, and it really is community-based, community-driven. And we always center those voices of the youth that have lived experience. And so Some of the work is actually just getting them to be able to engage in it, and getting the partners ready to do that and to engage with young people. So I hope that answers the question. Can multiple COCs apply for this jointly? Absolutely. We'd love to see it. Wonderful. We'd love to see that. Is this proposal applicable for Puerto Rico? I believe so. It's across America, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. Um, are you able to have more than one staff listed as the lead? You can feel free to put multiple people in there if you'd like. Um, just list it twice. I didn't set it up that way, but you can just list their information, Sarah Billings slash Kayla Crawl, something like that, if you'd like. How many communities will be selected? That's a wonderful question. So we believe that we will be able to select up to 4 communities. That is the plan as of now. And then we will open another cohort next year. So we're hoping that we'll be able to have 4 this year and then increase and have another 4 next year. That's the hope. That's the plan. Depending on kind of the applications we get, it may be 3, and we could get really brave and do 5, but I think we're going to stick with 4. So, okay. Those are the questions I could see, but I'm not sure if there's any that um, are missing, or any additional ones that anyone has. And I missed my little spots on my slide. So, yeah, do you have questions about the model, eligibility, application requirements, community readiness, or youth engagement? You can feel free to put those in the Q&A. And I'll wait a minute for folks. And I'll check the chat. I think we're pretty good. Awesome. Thank you, Colleen. You said you're very excited about this opportunity. I'm very happy to see you here. It's good, good, good. Awesome. Okay. So if we don't have more questions, here's the next steps. If you're interested in applying, you're gonna review the application. You're gonna reach out with questions. You're gonna gather those letters of support, and you're gonna submit by July 22nd. I do think I see another question in the chat, which is, do larger communities have an advantage over smaller ones? No. We've never done this before, so it's hard to say exactly. We've never done the application process before, I should say. But truly, we have worked with, like I said, statewide LCSCs and also city or even just, smaller counties. And all of them have been really dynamic. So it really is about kind of how you conceptualize your community and where you think you can actually make change. So do not try to make it bigger or smaller just to get in. Really let it represent your work and how you conceptualize what your community and what your systems kind of are the geographic area it's made up of. I hope that helps. Do we have any other questions?
I think we're all set.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. So you can reach me. I am Sarah Billings. Again, my email is on this slide. You can also find me on our website. And I have a few more things that I think are wonderful for folks to know about. So the first thing is we have a Vital Docs hotline. It is open every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you know of anyone, a youth experiencing homelessness that needs help obtaining anything like a state ID, their license, their birth certificate, social security cards, or documents needed to obtain those things, they can call this number. This is entirely free of charge. It is a service to them. And they can also text. So voicemails and texts are welcome and they will be returned, but it is live on Wednesdays. So please check that out. Please share this out. And there's more on our website if you want more content about it. But If you want, I'll pause a moment so you can screenshot it if you'd like, because I think this is just a really exciting thing we've been working on. So,
Can I also, Sarah, jump in
mhm.
really quickly and just say for this, especially because a lot of you guys are service providers, Baker McKenzie, who operates the hotline and all their fancy lawyers answer all your questions,
Yeah.
they'll actually print flyers for you and mail them free of charge. So if that's something you're interested in, my email is on the webpage. Email me directly and I can get you connected to get as many flyers as you need.
Okay, so I see a few more questions, and I think they're related to the LCSC. So Star asked, is funding provided? And Lewis asked, is funding associated with being selected for the cohort? Um, or is it mostly getting us connected to all your awesome resources and trainings? Yes. So it's more so of the latter, getting us connected to getting you connected free of cost to you to all of our awesome resources and training and support. But we do have those smaller mini grants that we'll be doing for the youth-led projects. So that'll be kind of a separate competition that your young people will get to participate in. And that'll be just, a smaller mini grant to get them kicking off something that they want to do. Um, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. But if you're asking about the Vital Document Hotline, okay, Star was asking about the Vital Docs Hotline.
No, there's
Kayla, can you
not.
answer that?
Oh, yeah. So there's not funding given. I know a lot of times there's unfortunately like small fees, especially for like birth certificate, social security card. Baker McKenzie, so it's like a global firm. So they have offices like all over. And so what we've built out is a network of legal clinics across like states and territories. So I think about like 85% of calls are like what the caller calls about, it's all fixed and they're able to get their ID or document that way. For those that aren't able to finalize it on the call, the operators will connect them with a local legal clinic who will help them like close the loop on obtaining documents. And so sometimes they'll assist with the funding, one-time fees for the legal clinic or service provider that helped the young person obtain their documents, if that makes sense. I think it did, but if it didn't, let me know.
Thanks, Kayla. And Lewis asked, the mini grants are only to groups that are selected for the cohort. Correct. Yeah. They'll be for our LCSCs. Correct. Okay. So hopefully you got a screenshot of that. There's more information on our website. Um, the next thing is, we put out the Know Your Rights toolkit. And so this is a 43-page toolkit for youth ages 13 to 25. And this was designed by and for young people experiencing homelessness, and specifically for youth that are ages 13 to 25 who are experiencing homelessness without a parent or a guardian. So, in addition to the 11 important areas listed, it also helps young people understand how the different ways federal agencies define homelessness, and how that impacts the rights and resources available to them. So we're sharing this toolkit next week widely, but we're giving you a sneak peek. Kayla put that into the chat. And please share this out. Please share it widely. We want this out there and in the hands of young people who need it. All right, so another exciting fundraiser announcement. We are doing a raffle. So the prize is two round-trip airline tickets that are worth up to $1,250. All proceeds go directly to NN4Y's work ending youth homelessness to create resources like the Know Your Rights toolkit that we just talked about. So Kayla dropped the raffle link in there, and then there's also a QR code. But please get involved with that, and throw your hat in the ring if you'd like to, or share it out to friends and family if you think they would be interested. All right, so we have an upcoming webinar on Tuesday, July 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and it will be a federal policy update on child and youth homelessness. So please consider attending that. And you can access that on our website to sign up like you did for today. Lastly, just get connected with us. We would love to see more folks connecting with us. We've been growing our network and our memberships, and so you can sign up for our listserv. You don't have to be a member to be on that. We put out lots of great content. And when I say we, I mean Kayla puts out a lot of great content for us. And you can join our membership network. You could look at our training and consulting services to mobilize your community. We also support connections to your members of Congress with our policy and advocacy work. And then you see a link to our Vital Docs hotline there that we talked about. And you can join our referral network for that. Lastly, it is our belief at NN4Y that together we can end youth homelessness. And so we're very excited for you to join us today to consider applying. And we're excited to see the applications that will come in and to partner with you as we go forward. So thank you so much for joining. And my contact there is there if you have questions. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Colleen.